So you're probably here because you're an entrepreneur yourself, right? You're in business for yourself, and you are to that point to where you're ready to start paying yourself from your business, right? So and there are certain things that you need to do and certain ways that you should be paying yourself out of your business to make sure you're maximizing every opportunity as far as your money flow and maximizing your profits. And so just real quick who I am, I'm Felicia Streeter over at Dream for Self Services, and my site is FeliciaStreeter.com. And basically what I do is I help you track your money and keep more of the money you make. I'm all about profit and growth strategies within your bookkeeping and your accounting system and department to help you grow your business and ultimately live the life you crave and have the business that you so desire. That's what I do. All right. And how do I do that? I do that in the form of I do bookkeeping training for individuals as well as group settings, as well as I work with small and medium-sized companies where I offer some agency services where I kind of overtake their whole accounting department. So wide range there, but definitely all around bookkeeping and training. Okay, so let's dive into what we're talking about today. So today, again, we're talking about how to get paid, how to take the money out of your business and pay yourself. And we're talking about the tracking. Remember, we're always talking about how to track your money. Thank you for sharing it. I didn't even say that. Thank you for sharing that, Divas Wealth. I appreciate that. Yeah, if you guys want to share, you just swipe to the right, I believe it is, or swipe up, just depending on if you're Apple or Android. Share it with your Twitter followers. Left, thank you. Share it with your Twitter followers or with your Facebook followers. I appreciate that. Thank you for the hearts. Okay, so we're going to talk about tracking your money, how to pull it out of your business and pay yourself, and the correct way to do this and not get in trouble with the IRS or be overtaxed. Who wants to pay more money? We're all about profits here, right? So there's two basic ways you can pay yourself, and I'm sharing this today because in the last week I've had like 3 people ask me this. Okay, so I'm sharing it for that reason. So there's 2 ways basically that you can pay yourself. One is via payroll. And if you think about when you were in a job, most of you probably had a job at some point in time, or if you're still in a job, there is payroll done, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, 1st and 15th, once a month, however you decide to do it, there's a process of payroll. And so if you're on payroll, what basically happens is you're treated as an employee of your company as it relates to how you get paid, okay? And so what that means is, you would have, the same taxes taken out of your check that you would as an employee. So, everybody pays federal taxes, just depending on how much you're being paid. But the general rule is you pay taxes, federal taxes, right? If you're in a state where they have state tax, then state taxes would be taken out of your payroll check as well. And then, you have Social Security, Medicare, and then if there's any other type of deductions that you should have as the employee. Now, in addition to that, if you're paying yourself under payroll, that's the things that you would pay that I just shared as the employee out of your check. So what I'm saying is if you pay yourself, say, $2,500 a month, out of that $2,500, you would pay federal tax, state tax if it's in your state, and even city tax if you live in a city that pays city taxes, as well as, federal FICA, your Social Security, Medicare, things like that. So all of that would be coming out of your $2,500. Now, as the business owner, you would also have to pay some taxes as it relates to your payroll cost for your employees, meaning yourself at the time, or if you have other employees. So that's where your federal unemployment tax fees come in. That's where, let's see what else. Federal unemployment tax, if you have to pay any type of workers' comp or things like that, or if you're paying insurance for employees, all of that stuff would come out on the employee side. I'm sorry, the employer side, right? So that's the part that your company would pay on top of the $2,500 that they pay you. Now, if you're going to go the route of payroll, I always suggest that, it may be ideal for you to find a payroll company to do your payroll for you. Now, yes, if you're using QuickBooks, they also have a payroll service that you can attach to your accounting system. You can do it yourself that way. You can definitely find another system or software and do it yourself. But what I find is most small businesses, if they're taking out payroll, especially if it's more than one person or even one person, most of my clients, what they'll do is hire an outside payroll company. And I don't do payroll, so I'm not selling payroll here. But you find someone outside, and here's the reason why. Because however you determine to pay yourself payroll, whether that's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, 1st and 15th, however you decide to pay yourself payroll, or whenever you pay yourself payroll through the quote-unquote payroll process, you have to file, I believe, and don't quote me on the time frame, but it may be a 2-day period where you have to, submit that money to the IRS for federal income tax, where you have to submit that money to your state for the state taxes and to the city if you're in city. So all those different things have to be paid in a specific time frame, or you are highly penalized. And so because we get so busy in our business and we're working in our actual stuff that we enjoy doing, our gifts, that you may forget to do all that stuff, and then you don't want that because the IRS will be knocking at your door. You're feeling me on that? Great. I appreciate those hearts. So that's why you may want to hire an outside payroll company, okay? Now, the other option you have is just doing the payroll company, right? And not doing it yourself in-house. So here's what happened with the payroll company. So say you hired the payroll company, right? Appreciate those hearts. Thank you. Keep them coming. And the only thing you have to do once you have the employee set up with the payroll company, and setting them up is, basically your W-2, what is it? W-4s to tell what type of deductions they want, and then whatever paperwork that the payroll company has as far as, name, address, your information, what bank account you're going to use, all of that stuff, which is not a lengthy process. But once you have that set up, then every time you run payroll, the only thing you have to send to the payroll company is who's getting paid, which you'll probably have a spreadsheet or something for that, how much they're getting paid, which ideally the payroll company will already know, but just in case it changed, you could put that in there. And then how many hours you're paying them for. And they take care of everything else. How cool is that, right? So it doesn't take you a lot of time is what I'm saying. But then the responsibility is put on the payroll company to make sure all those things happen as far as paying those taxes on time, taking the correct amount of money out of your employees' checks and things like that. As a business owner, can I just pay myself directly? Okay, and take out appropriate taxes. Yes, I'm the only one. Okay, so we're going to get to that too. So that's with the payroll side, right? So I'm glad you asked that. So, and so let me finish that. So with the payroll company, you would basically just, again, send that information to them and they would take care of everything, transfer the money to the specific bank account that you guys said you would pay them with, and it's done. Now, yes, you can definitely pay yourself directly. And if I'm understanding your question, that was the second way I was going to share, that you can actually pay yourself directly. And what we call that is taking out an owner's draw. So if that's what you're asking. And what I mean by taking out an owner's draw is that you would just write yourself a check, right, from your business bank account. And if you're going to pay yourself $1,000, you pay yourself $1,000 and you're done. Or you could, go to the ATM and take the money out, however you want to do it. Okay, great. I'm glad I'm answering your question. Or you can just go to the ATM and take the money out, right? And so it's still going to hit your books and things like that. But here's the difference. So then what happens if you take out the owner's draw, when you get ready to pay taxes, right? You haven't put any tax money away. So now you're going to probably, and numbers mean everything. And so we don't know what the actual numbers are, but you would more than likely owe at tax time. And so, one way to offset that is to say, if you pay yourself $1,000 every 2 weeks, is to set a portion of that aside in a separate bank account. And then when tax time comes, you're kind of on target with what you should pay in taxes. And definitely you could do the calculations to see about how much you would owe in taxes and kind of set that aside. And that's something that really, okay, is that making sense? Okay, right, okay, making sense. Okay, cool. And so you could do it like that if you want to, right? And so definitely with my clients, when I'm working with them, we actually set up 4 different bank accounts to cover 4 different things. And, maybe that's something we'll share at a different day. But one of those is for taxes. So, and that's on the business side. But again, if you're pulling it out of owner's equity, then you want to make sure that you're personally setting money aside to pay your taxes, okay? If that makes sense. And the other thing with taking out the owner's draw is a lot of times if you're not posting correctly, like you're not hitting the right accounts, that's a good idea. Yes, exactly. So if you're not hitting the right accounts, I'm going to have to talk about that. I'm going to have to make a note and talk about the 4 different bank accounts you should have. So if you're not hitting the right accounting, classification, chart of account list, mean all the same thing. Some people just don't know the terminology. Okay, great. I'm going to do that. Is that you could be double taxed. And who wants that? So that's why it's important to make sure you set up your bookkeeping correctly. And, you know, if you're going to take out those owner draws, make sure you're hitting the right accounting parts or classifications to make sure you're not, you know, being double taxed and things like that. All right. And so let's see. So I covered all that. Oh, here's a tip. So here's something with if you do payroll, right? Let me give you an example. So say, well, let me before I say if you do payroll. So say you do an owner's draw, right? And you want to buy a house and your business is your only source of income. They're going to want to see financial statements, probably, I can't remember, what did I have to do? Going back 2 years, maybe. I think the last 2 years financial statements of your business, as well as bank account statements for 2 years. Yeah. And because what they wanted to see is what would actually be shown if you were on payroll. So if you're thinking of buying a house, you're thinking of buying a car, and you're taking out owner draws, just know that they're going to want to see financial statements and bank statements of your business if that's your source of income. Okay? And so, again, that's another benefit of bookkeeping, right? Now, if you're on payroll, you already know that at the end of the year, you'll get a W-2 just as you would from a regular job. And so that would serve the purpose of what you could use when you go get a house or a car. You know, when you take out the owner's draw for some reason, you know, like just showing them check stubs and things like that does not work. They want to see how much money that business is bringing in. So it's kind of funny when you're doing things outside of the entrepreneur world and you're not an employee where, you know, you have a regular check stub every 2 weeks and you don't, you know, get W-2s at the end of the year. They're kind of funny and they be digging. And let me tell you, it's a lot of things that they ask for when you're going to do the traditional financing things that we do as, you know, everyday people. Okay. So here, and this was the best advice that my CPA gave me. I really appreciate those hearts. You guys are going to make me hit 6,000 this week. Woo! All right. And I haven't even been keeping track, but it is on target. So here's the best advice my CPA gave me. He said to pay yourself as an employee. That was the best advice that my CPA gave me. My kids and grandkids are coming in from school. So that was the best advice. Why? Because now I had the W-2s. I had the check stuff. And here's something else. Check this out. We don't want this to happen, but if you ever had to close your business, you could collect unemployment if you were paying yourself via payroll. Yeah. So if you take out owner's draws all the time, then you can't collect unemployment because you didn't pay anything into it. All right. So that is what I have for you guys today. Again, we were talking about how to get paid, how to take that money out of your business and pay yourself. You have 2 options. You can do it the payroll route, or you can take out the owner's draw. All right. So either one works. It just depends on your business situation and, you know, how things are going. All right. I appreciate those hearts. If you have any questions, feel free to pop those in now. Any questions? And I know it's a little bit of delay, so I'll wait here briefly and see if you have any additional questions. Questions. All right. Well, nothing came through as of yet, and that's cool. I probably covered the information really well, huh? All right. So my call to action to you, if you have any questions, if you want to make sure your accounting list of accounts are set up correctly, definitely reach out to me. I do reviews, and you can just go to bit.ly /bookkeeping chat, CHAT, excuse me, bit.ly.book. Okay, thank you for sharing that. So you can go to bit.ly /bookkeeping chat, and you can book a chat with me, or you can definitely reach out to me. I really hang out on Facebook a lot, so you can personal message me there.